All right, I'd like to call to order the Canby Area Transit Advisory Committee meeting for January 23rd of 2025. I'm Stephanie tonight, and we'll start out with the approval of the minutes.
Actually, it's the introductions.
Oh, introductions, I apologize. Remember, first time stepping in on this. Let's start with introductions. Let's start at the beginning with Heidi.
Heidi Miller, Transit Operations Manager.
Todd Wood, Transit Director.
Deanna Balcarb, member.
Nancy Muller, member.
Stephanie Boyce, member.
And just to note that Greg Perez and Adrienne are excused absence. Tyler Frankie, we did not hear if he was going to be here or not, so he is just absent. And then, go ahead, sir.
I'm Ted Hensley.
Ted Hensley, welcome to the meetings. You're now on the committee as well. All right. If you weren't, you are now. For sure, officially.
And just also, just for the record, Paul Waterman, who was on the committee, is now a city councilor and no longer eligible to be on the committee, so he is no longer a member of the committee.
Okay, thank you. Good luck to him. Yes. All right, now we'll have consent of the agenda. Approval of the minutes from July 25th, 24.
5 minutes, September.
We already approved September. July was, so just for history, in case anybody's
Thank you.
wondering why. So July, we didn't have a quorum, and at first because there was no quorum, we technically didn't need to do minutes, but then the city recorder did ask if we could at least do some minutes of what was discussed, just so there was something on the record that we had the meeting, what we talked about, even though there was no agendas, voting, or any of that. So it took a little bit because Melody was out. I was covering for her while doing my thing. So it took a little bit for the minutes to get written. Luckily, Melody came back and did it. Thank you, Melody. So that is why you have July 25th minutes in front of you for vote for approval, so we can get it on the website and I can make the city recorder happy again.
So we need to do a vote of it.
Yeah, just a vote, as long as you approve the minutes as they are, or if you find any mistake, I just need to know and we can amend them.
Would we like to approve? Yes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from July 25th, 2024.
I second. Perfect.
And then
Ask for all in favor.
Oh, I apologize. All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye. Ted?
I'm just a spectator.
Oh, he's just a spectator tonight?
He
Yeah,
has to wait until city council actually puts him on the
Yeah.
advisory committee. As much as we'd like to simply put him on the dais, it's the city council's purview to appoint or not appoint.
Okay, I apologize for that misunderstanding. I was ready to go, Ted. See, it's on then. I was ready to go.
And you know, she's half the equation since she has to approve of you, and so does Mr. Stern. So you're 50% there.
Yeah, you already know. All right, we also have under consent agenda the approval minutes for November 21st, 2024.
I approve the minutes for the November 21st meeting.
I'll second that.
Perfect. Do I have to do the
All
all,
in favor, yeah.
all in favor?
I,
Aye.
All right. Do we have any public input, actually, that I'm not aware of?
No,
No? Okay. No public input or comments at this point in time. All right, shall we go over the old business?
sure.
Let's do it. Transit Mastery Plan update.
Building project. Building update?
Okay.
Is that what it
did I
says?
give you the?
Well, we had Transit Master Plan update on here first, on A, old business,
oh,
and
no,
then,
you're on minutes. You gotta go back to the, there you go.
thank you.
So now we're down to old business.
Okay, old business, operations report.
No, the
Uh,
one above it.
The one above it?
Old business is here, transit building update.
Yeah.
That's what you go, that's what we're going to discuss now.
Number 4A.
Yeah, so transit building update?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
Very
okay,
good.
Yeah.
it's all good.
thanks. Here we
Uh,
get experience.
That's right.
No, it's the best experience. That's all right. Building is on hold for maybe forever. I don't remember how much we discussed last time, but
I
we'll,
actually do recall you discussing it, had to do with going to Salem, Salem explaining that, go ahead though, Todd.
yeah, no, so the FTA has a requirement when you purchase property, which this property was purchased by my predecessor, to, if you want to apply for any grants to help fund a building project. And right now, the building as a whole, if you were to just build it outright, is a $10 million project. The FDA has a rule, if you're going to buy property, you have to go through a process before you buy the property to determine whether or not the property is buildable. And if you don't do that, then they will never not allow you to get any federal grants. I was not aware of this process. At the time the property was purchased, my predecessor didn't intend to use any federal grants because the building costs were less than $5 million prior to COVID, so she didn't think it would be necessary. So that process wasn't followed, and because that process wasn't followed, we can't get any federal grant money to build the building. I did apply for several state grants to build the building, and both were denied. The reason being is because the state had X number of dollars and they got Y number of applications and they prioritized them. And unfortunately for us, we fell with several other properties or, below the we have no money left line. And so there was nothing left for us. So we have no grant money. I only have about $3 million in the bank. Far cry from the $10 million I would need to build the building. City Council has directed us to look at options for, could we sell the property and then buy it back? Or do we need to get a different piece of property? I'm not sure. We're waiting for the attorney because these are legal questions. I don't know. But to see if there's a way around this NEPA process. Right now, there's no, yeah, the NEPA, that's the federal environmental process. And right now, I don't see a path forward in those areas. We have talked with the Public Works Director a little bit about the possibility of just building out the front of the property for a parking lot for employees and visitors, and then flattening it out, and then maybe buying some modulars and putting those on the property because our lease expires in December. And our landlord has indicated in the past that he would like us to move. And I don't know if he'll renegotiate or not. So we'll see. But that may be what we have to do because I'm not right now seeing a great option for getting past that $7 million difference. We did look at shrinking the project down to just the building, and that's still a $5.5 million prospect. So we looked at the possibility of what a loan for $2.5 million would be, and it's about $10,000 to $13,000 a month. And I don't know that transit can float that extra monthly expense. That's an extra $60,000 to $80,000 a year out of our budget, and our budget's already, tight. So we have to answer the council's questions before I can really do much else. So we're waiting for the legal review on that. And then the council's asking us to come back with some recommendations. But until that happens, we're sort of stuck. Now, again, I'm hoping that our landlord may give us more time. He does have somebody who's interested in our space and has for a number of years, and he would like to rent to them. He had originally asked us to move next door, and we said we would, but he hasn't got next door ready. And that was 2 years ago. So we don't know if next door would be ready so he could rent the space out. But he is interested in us not being in the space any longer. So we'll see what happens there. But that is unfortunately the update on the transit building. But,
It ran up against a brick wall.
Yeah.
That you were not expecting.
big, thick one.
Yeah.
And apparently we aren't alone.
Yeah.
Rogue Valley ran
Correct.
into the same brick wall. Morrow County ran into the same brick wall. It's a brick wall that a lot of us weren't aware of, and the federal government has started really enforcing. And so, it's unfortunate. This NEPA process is starting, its tentacles are growing, it appears, because Heidi will talk about our vehicle grant, but the NEPA process is now required to purchase vehicles. So the good news is it's a much simpler and easier process, and vehicles are easy to get through the NEPA process, so we have no worries on that. But it does appear that the federal government is taking their NEPA responsibilities more seriously and enforcing those requirements. So that's where we're at. So we are where we are until further notice, which is unfortunate, but just the reality of the situation. So
Yeah. When do we think that city council will move? Oh, never mind.
well,
Back out of the question.
sure, okay.
Never mind. All right.
Any other questions on that one?
I guess what's the timeline that you guys will be able to stay in the building then?
Don't know. That'll be completely up to our landlord.
Right.
So I'll have to start having that.
I mean, you're not going to put the office right on the bus and be in the back with
We
it,
could,
right?
I mean,
We
at
could.
least I'd have a window.
I like that. You're
A
right.
window that doesn't look into a hallway.
Yeah.
Right. You're right. Interesting.
You know, the modular idea is actually not a bad idea. It's not ideal, but you can get some pretty nice modulars these days. You know, put those together and we'd have more space, at least until we could figure out what the future is.
But you would still end up with the issue of where to park the vehicles, right? And-
No, that's not going to change. Our parking lot is going to stay where it's at for the vehicles themselves.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, I guess that was a thought that it just came to me, but that's
Yeah.
interesting.
So, you know, we'll get the legal questions answered and then go back to the council and see what their direction is. You know, unfortunately, COVID really took and inflated the cost of things to a level that nobody expected. Nobody could have anticipated that a building that should have cost us $5 million just 5 years ago is now ballooned up to $10 million in such a short period of time. So it's just an unforeseen and unfortunate situation, so.
All right. Now on to new business. Nope, the bus shelter project update.
So finally, there's good news. So we know we installed the bus shelters on 99E for the ODOT project, but we always had these 4 that I think it's been 2.5 years now of back and forth with a different part of ODOT on the designs of these 4 bus stops where they'd say, no, you can't do that. We'd send it back. And then they'd say, nope, can't do that. And then it's just back and forth for like 2.5 years. They have finally given us approval to build out those 4 last bus stops. So we will build out the 2 at Territorial and the 2 at Redwood. So our Public Works team has given me a actually really good price to build those out. So they're going to, as soon as they're able, and I assume weather is going to have something to say about that, because it's freezing out there right now. As soon as they're able, they'll start to build. They have to build some sidewalks and the pads per ODOT specs. I think we have to acquire some right of way near Fred Meyer's. Or is it still?
I think we can work around that. I worked with Spencer and Jerry on the money cost, and I think we got a plan to work around it, but we also have to do a pipe. We have to install, I think it's like a 40-foot pipe as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's another thing.
Because so there's a few things. There's also some wiring for the signals that unfortunately are right there in our way, so they'll have to deal with those.
Nope.
But, no, they got it, they found that?
We
Oh,
found a way around
great.
it. We're not gonna cut loops. We're good.
Yay, so that's good news. The good news is we have an amazing Public Works team. They've already evaluated everything. They've given me a bill already for what it'll cost, and it's dirt cheap compared to what I would pay anybody else. So we're excited for when that starts. So I don't know when, it'll be up to them, weather permitting and other projects. But hopefully sometime by the spring, we'll have all of our 9 bus shelters in on 99E, and we could start talking about what we do next as far as bus shelters go. So very excited.
As soon as the weather turns nice, I'll be bugging Spencer daily.
Yeah. So that's exciting news. It's been a long fought process trying to get these through ODOT, but we finally did.
And you had said 11 structures, right?
10
11.
total,
10 total shelters.
9 shelters, 1 light/bench.
Okay.
Yeah. We couldn't put a shelter there because there we would have to require right away, and we're not going to be able to require it. So we just put a bench and a light.
Yeah. That is
Yeah.
good news.
It's a very good news. We're very excited because it's been, my predecessor put that in place back in 2020. It is now 2025. It has taken us 5 years to install bus shelters.
That's bureaucracy,
Well,
right?
the 99E project was the big holdup, right? Because ODOT had to
Right.
redo everything before we could install bus shelters. So that project kept getting bumped down the road.
Yeah, that held back quite a
Yeah,
few.
with our bus
projects.
shelters in tow. We've actually had them sitting in Public Works for,
Oh, they're built.
yeah, like, but we had them on pallets outside disassembled for like a year. And then they decided to start building them so they could install them as they came along. So now we have a couple just sitting in Public Works waiting to be installed. So it's just been this long, drawn out process. They're nice though, and people are using them. If you drive down,
They
you
are.
see people using them. So it's been great.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, and I have quite a few high school students that have appreciated it.
I bet.
I've just heard from, because my daughter's that age, so. All right, so on to new business. Let's go with Heidi with the operations report. It's a couple pages in, Ted, if you want to go. It's
Yeah,
the
it's
one
the
that looks
last-
like this,
Last three.
It's got all the pretty
the
colors.
last three.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The green, the blues, the reds.
that's what we'll be discussing.
Yeah. I'll make it quick. So we're continuing our trend, as you guys can see, with our weekday service. The 99X is still doing a slight increase, which is good. So we're up about 5% compared to last year for the last 4 months. So overall, we've done about 17,400 people. And we did have one preventable accident. Luckily, the bus was not in service and it was very minor, so that's what that one is there for, in case anybody had any questions. Canby Loop, still doing fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous. So we're running about 21% with about 7,606 riders in the last 4 months. And then our dial-a-ride for ADA, we're still seeing people coming back a little bit more, more increased trips. Our general public has pretty much dwindled down to minimal. It's very rare that you see too many general public riders, just because the Canby Loop. So most of them are outside that boundary. So overall, in the last 4 months, we've done about 28,648 rides on the weekday. The weekend, again, our 99X is still seeing a pretty decent increase actually on the weekend. Seems to be getting a little bit busier and busier. And the Loop looks to be getting a little bit more popular on Saturday. So again, runs until 9:41 p.m. And our dial-a-ride, which is free on Saturdays, we saw a little bit of a dip. Even though it's still pretty popular on Saturdays and we're still running about 10 hours plus, sometimes up to 11 or 12 on revenue hours. It took a little dip, but a lot of general public tend to use it on Saturdays because it's free, so. So overall on the weekend, for the last 4 months, we're seeing about 3,446 riders. So that's good. So overall, we're up about 10.4% on all services. For the overall, about 32,094 riders for the last 4 months. So, any questions about operation report or anything like that?
All right, we'll go on to. Sorry about that, it wasn't on. We will now go to Transit Committee member updates with Todd.
Talked about this a little bit, but Mr. Waterman, now a city councilor, is no longer our chair, and thus you are the chair
Interim, right?
interim. Next meeting, we will vote in a new chair, vice chair, as we do every year in March.
Let's give it to Ted.
Give it,
I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
let's go.
What? All in favor? No, I'm just kidding.
So we have one opening, Ted has applied, so hopefully we can get that on the council sooner rather than later. Heidi is also going to do a bit of a review of our members who have been absent. There is city rules that say if you are absent more than 3 times in a row, you can be removed from the committee. So it is up to this body to remove people who are absent. You can choose to or not to. She'll bring that to you in March so we can discuss whether or not people are regularly attending and whether or not they should remain on the committee, those who have violated that particular policy. If so, then you vote to remove them and we send it to the city council, and the city council then votes to remove them. They'll take your recommendation. So.
Just a note, Deanna, they might be reaching out to you pretty soon, just because your term does end on March 31st of this year. And hopefully we haven't scared you away. So they'll probably be asking if you want to continue on it, and you won't have to go through the interview gauntlet again if you
Yeah,
want to
they
continue.
just put you on the
Yeah,
council agenda.
Or if you just want to preemptively call and say, hey, I know my term's coming up, that's totally up
We'll
to you,
double check, but they'll call you. And then
usually they contact you.
if you just say, I'm interested in continuing, they will just renew you on the.
Okay,
For a
because
couple-
I know on another commission that I'm on, they normally let us know ahead of time and
Yeah.
we'll just say
Yeah, yours
Yeah,
isn't
I just figured
much
I'd give you a little
Yeah,
heads
no,
up.
until March, so that should be pretty smooth.
I think yours is the only one that's coming up this
Yeah.
year.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
When will Ted know? Do we know?
I have no idea.
Confirmed or
So,
whatnot?
so you
Yeah.
and yourself as the acting chair
Okay,
and Counselor Stearns have to give approval, whether that's through interview or whatever. It'll be up to whatever Counselor Stearns decides and you decide you want to do. Once
Okay.
that process has taken place, which they should be reaching out to Counselor Stearns to set that up.
okay,
This is all handled by the city recorder.
okay,
Once that process has taken place, it'll be put on the very next consent agenda. So unfortunately, I don't have any control over the timing of that, so it really is up to the city recorder to get, and Counselor Stearns to get a time frame when
Okay.
he could do that.
I think what they're just waiting on is your availability and his availability. And if I need to be there to help facilitate anything.
They'll reach, if they haven't reached out to you yet, they will. Did we let them know?
I know
that?
Daniel, I'll talk to him.
Yeah, I believe your email got incorrect on the original email, so I emailed them and they said they had already fixed it. So
Yeah.
hopefully you got his application by now.
I did.
Okay, so yeah, if you want to meet up with him or
Yeah,
contact Teresa.
May I ask Ted a question briefly?
No.
No? Okay.
you can ask Ted anything you like.
Ted, I did read the application. I feel you're qualified, but I can't remember at this exact moment. Have you used Dial-A-Ride or have you used the services here in Canby? I know in the past you've used stuff, yeah.
I used to in Woodward,
Okay,
but not in Canby.
okay. That doesn't deter me. I just couldn't remember on the application if you had said that or not. Thank you. All right, I think we discussed this, but the 5339 vehicle grant update, didn't we?
Yeah, so we got it, finally.
Yeah, that's the one that you were saying.
Yeah, so we finally got it. It took them almost a year. So we have received a grant for 725,000 or 15,000? I don't know, 700 something.
25.
I think it's 25. We've received a grant for 725,000. We, of course, will have to pay 10% of that. But to allow us to replace 3 vehicles.
Yeah.
And we asked the federal government and the state to allow us to take 2 of those vehicles and shrink them down to Ford Transit. So right now, they're the bigger cutaway buses. and we want to replace them with the Ford Transits. We have found for the dial-a-ride purposes, the Ford Transits are significantly more efficient. They're easier to get in and out of places that we can't easily get the cutaways, and overall the maintenance on them has been less. They don't technically, according to the schedules, last as long, but they also are less expensive. So we like them, and we'd like to turn our entire dial-a-ride fleet into those. If you'll notice, TriMet has done at least half their fleet in these same Ford Transits. In fact, when we bought our first Transit, we stole TriMet's plans and modified it for Canby to get a similar setup, and it's worked really well. So that means instead of getting 3 replacement vehicles, we're actually getting 4. We're getting, or 5. We're getting 4 Ford Transits. Heidi will do all the work to get them, and 1 cutaway for our fixed route service. How long this takes, we don't know, because now there's a new NEPA process that's been interjected into the middle of this, and the state has told us to hold off on ordering anything until they figure out what we have to do to get through the NEPA process so that we can purchase the vehicles. So, yeah, but we're excited because our vehicles are dropping like flies here as they get older. So we just lost.
Can they modify for office space?
Yes,
In them?
yeah, we can, yeah, it'd actually be pretty nice office space. So you can get a hammock from one end to the other. No. But, yeah, no, they're, so we're excited about that. We don't know what the time frame is. We can't accept them before July 1st because they have to be in the budget. They're not in the budget yet because we didn't know when the grant would come. So they'll be in the July 1st budget, but at the rate we're going, we wouldn't get them anywhere close to July anyway, so.
Right.
So it all worked out in the end.
Paperwork's done, we're just waiting for the clearance from the
Yeah.
state.
Yep,
Okay.
so we're excited. Yeah,
We're ending on a good note.
yeah.
All right. At this point in time, there is nothing else on the agenda.
We have a few things
Oh, we
want to
do?
talk about.
You
Yeah,
didn't-
they're just not here.
They're just not here.
Yeah.
All right. Go right
So
ahead.
that's why it says open discussion items. This is for the
Open
stuff Todd
discussion.
thinks of later that he forgot to put on the
I
agenda.
literally want to rewrite it that way.
Or things you all come up that you'd like to discuss or bring up or plan for or whatever. We have at least 2 plans that need to be redone and readopted. We have our ADA plan and we have our Title VI plan and our, the vehicle plan?
Asset maintenance.
Asset maintenance plan. So traditionally, the way this is done is we do the work in updating them. We bring them to you to take home and review, and then come back and approve to move forward to the city council. So I'm letting you know this ahead of time because my hope is that in March, we're going to have at least 1, maybe 2 of those plans to hand to you. And what you'll do is you don't have to edit them. We'll have them all edited and beautiful. Your job is just to read it, review it. If you have any questions, let us know. If there's something you disagree with in there, let us know. A lot of it's legal language we're required to have. And then at the March meeting, vote to move it to city council for adoption. They are required by law for us to have in order to operate the service. And there is language that we have to have in there. So some of it's in there and they can be somewhat complex, but Heidi will explain them all perfectly. So,
And it will be May that you guys, not March.
Okay.
It'd be odd to hand it to you and say, please approve.
yeah,
it."
you'll approve it in March, May. So we'll hand it to you in March and you'll have a couple of months to review them and get back. But I just want to let you know that's coming. They need to be redone every 3 years, so it is time to redo them. And you all are the folks that allow us to move it to the city council to get them approved. So that's coming next meeting. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. There's something else.
You didn't tell me, so I can't help you.
This must have been really important, because I don't remember what it was. All right, I don't know what it is.
Okay.
So, anyway, but that's the big one. We want to make sure you're aware. So in the
Mentally
next,
prepare ourselves.
yeah, the next meeting, when all of a sudden there's this very large packet with these huge things in them.
They're not gonna be as huge as they are currently. I'm
Yeah.
actually trying to make them a little bit more manageable and easier to
we're using our fellow partnerships with
Yeah.
other Clackamas County providers to pare them down to what's required and remove some of the extra stuff that's not required.
And that
And
just
update the
doesn't need to be
language,
there.
And all these do, the EDA plan, and Heidi will explain this more the next meeting. The EDA plan just tells the folks that use our service what we're going to do, and the state what we're going to do, and the laws we're going to abide by, and all these things, what the rules are, and so on and so forth. The Title VI plan just says we're not going to discriminate, and we're going to follow all these federal laws, and we're going to do all these things. And the asset management plan is how we're going to take care of our vehicles. So,
Okay.
but they're very important for us to continue to operate and maintain our service. Yeah, but the process, like I said, is y'all approve us to move them forward, so, and get them adopted.
All right.
It sounds exciting.
It sounds about as exciting as, yeah.
This
that
is
it
why
can be.
this is why I have Heidi and Melody redo them, because they're that exciting. They're just thrilled, so. I know what it was. Some very good news. We were able to get, so I think I talked about this last time. This is the time where we apply for all our operating grants, and there was the possibility we might not be able to get some of our operating grants. We got all of our operating grants. So we got 100% of the 5311 we applied for. That helps fund our 99X. We got 100% of the 5310. That helps fund our dial-a-ride. And we also got what used to be called STF, which is now part of STIF, called the Elderly and Disabled Fund. We got all the money we asked for in there, and then we got all the money we asked for in our STIF plan. So as it looks like everything requested. Now, of course, it's still, the state still has to send us the agreements, and then the money still has to show up to the state to pay it, right?
Right.
All that's all, yeah, but as we were very worried because when we originally applied for the 5310, it looked like we might not get anything, or we might get a lot less than we originally had gotten. And they were able to work through things and fund the operations of all the properties. And so we got everything we asked for. Would we have liked more? Sure. We actually asked for, I think we got a 3% increase. We would have loved more than that, but 3% is plenty. I mean, it's not plenty, but it's good. So
Yes.
we're very excited that we got that, because the cost of our service is not going down as much as I would love for it to go down, but it's not going down. So that was a welcome surprise, because there was a lot of nail biting and, pacing. While we waited to see if our funding would come through. So it has come through. One more item, we're going through our STIF audits. And all that is that TriMet and the state require us to prove that we're spending the STIF money on what we say we're spending it on. And we have an external auditor who goes through our books to make sure that's the case. And then we send it off to the state and TriMet to prove that we have done what we said we'd do. I will bring a copy of the finalized audit next meeting as well, so you can look that over. And yeah,
Okay, now the packet might be a little bigger.
Okay.
so.
I'm mentally preparing myself.
And the final thing is we are entering budget season for the city. So we will be building the transit budget. And when we get that into its initial draft form, and we have a vague idea that it looks like it's going to fly through, we'll bring that to you so you can look at it, so you know what we're proposing that's going to go before the budget committee. So. And I don't anticipate any major changes, just the vehicles will be added to the budget, obviously, so we can buy them with the grant. But outside of that, unless something happens to our funding, I don't anticipate any major changes to the budget. So.
You have a lot of work on your plate. Heidi.
Heidi has a lot of work.
I'm going to throw that down to her. All right. Does anybody on the panel want to ask any questions, or on the committee, I mean? Do you have any questions?
I have a question regarding the dial-a-ride. My husband uses it on occasion, and he's found that there's times, and a bus driver this week told him, I being on the committee should bring it up, but he's noticing that when he gets a call for a pickup, It normally ends up being when he's already home or halfway home.
Okay.
So on, I think it was Tuesday, he was past the tunnel and his phone went off saying that the bus will be coming to pick him up. And
That's interesting.
the bus driver made a comment, we need to report this. So then the head people are known. So my husband ended up explaining that I'm on the commission, or on the committee. So the bus driver asked him to make sure to have me bring it up at the meeting. So I just want to bring it up.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
So we've had some interesting software problems. Heidi can explain a little.
Yeah.
So it's a
but-
machine that calls?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so it's
Well,
not a
the
live
drive.
person.
Well, it's sort of, the driver punches a little button that says, I'm heading this way, and it's supposed to call right away and let
Okay.
you know the bus will be there in X amount of time. And then clearly that's going off
Delayed.
into space, traveling around the sun, and then
Take
coming
off.
back to the bus again afterwards
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, so, what I'll do is I'll actually put in a work ticket, because I actually was in early today to work on a technology issue with the other system, the fixed route system. So I will put in a work order request with CTS, our trip master software people, and let them know that there appears to be some
Delay.
extra lagging. I've heard people say it before, but some of it I've found was driver error. So, but this one sounds like it might have been an actual error of going around the universe. So I'll put in a work order to see if they can maybe do a check of their system. And
Yeah, since it's an automated system, if the
Yeah.
driver has already picked somebody up and they look at their tablet and it says, you're supposed to pick this, oh, whoops, I pushed the button, then it's
then
gonna
it'll
call.
call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
and
that
that's
can
where
happen.
sometimes the driver error part happens,
Yeah.
or, I had another one where it was, the person got told it'd be 4 minutes and the driver didn't show up for another 12 minutes, and turns out the driver just would hit the on the way button, wait another 10 minutes
And
to
then-
make sure that they knew that he was coming, and then show up, and then it's like, no, because then they were stressing, thinking they were missing the
Missing the
bus.
bus, yeah.
and So.
Yeah,
it was
because
a
you actually
quick-
have to be on the way if you're gonna push the on the way button.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
As
It does
opposed to
it by
taking a break and
GPS.
push the button.
Yeah, it does it by GPS location, not, oh, this is your time, so it's 12 minutes away from your pickup time. No, it's 12 minutes away from their current location. So, and if they're right down the street, then, yeah.
And I like this system because it helps my husband to know, hey, I gotta be ready to go if I'm not able to take him to his appointments or whatnot.
It's been a great system. It's,
It's,
we used to manually call everything in the evening. Now the system calls for us and they're much more standardized. And they're, instead of being scattered through a 2-hour period in the evening, they all go out at the same time. And then the alert system that we're on our way has helped a lot of people get ready and, rather than us showing up at the door and saying, hey, yeah, it's time to go. Oh, let me get my shoes.
It's all-
So it's worked out really well.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
also not well known, but if people don't prefer voice, because I know sometimes automated voices can be annoying, we can do an option where it sends you a text message. So for people who don't have like voicemail set up or anything like that, we recommend the text message, because then you have it. And it tells you the date, the times, and then you can refer back to it in case you forget
Yeah.
what your time is. So you can
There's
also
lots
do
of
a text
options.
option. So we recommend that for people that would prefer that.
No, nice.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I just
So
wanted
if you
to
would
bring it
rather have
up.
text messages, we can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a box
But
click.
anytime you hear about anything like that, please feel free to let us know.
Yeah.
If the committee meeting is going to be a ways out, just call.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's why I figured if it was gonna be another month or two, I would have
Yeah, because
called.
we
But I
definitely
was
want to
like,
get on that. and
I
fix
just
that.
will bring it up in a couple days.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
That's
because
perfect.
we want to know when the system isn't functioning correctly. So,
Or if we need to do like a retraining,
Yeah.
like we did.
Yeah, no, thank you.
or
very
make
much.
adjustments because they don't work right or something,
Yeah.
We can't catch them all. but- Very
All
good.
right, does anybody else have any questions or topics? Well, I guess one random topic and then we can close would be, how did the Christmas bus thing go this year?
So, okay,
I got the flu.
somebody,
no.
somebody
Fantastic, so I didn't
show
make
up.
I got the flu the flu 2 days before. And it
I'm
was,
sure they were disappointed, but understand.
yeah, it
Oh,
was.
no, we still did it.
Oh, you still did it? I thought you were
Yes.
saying, no, that
And
did
so-
not happen.
But she, yeah, she pulled
I
it
had a
off.
very full Gillig bus. Nancy can tell you that because she was on it.
Oh,
Uh,
That was nice.
Yeah, so it wasn't as elaborate because I didn't have as much time as I would preferred, but it was still a good tour. A couple hiccups here and there, but we got through it. And people seemed to enjoy it. And thank you, Cutsworth, for your dessert tray assortment that we got.
oh,
People,
that is super cool of them.
yeah, people really liked it. So there wasn't much left at the end. So that was kind of nice. And some people got, thanks to a donation, a couple lucky people got some vintage Canby ornaments in their little gift bags. So those were like the special prizes.
That's really cool.
So, yeah. So.
And I'm glad you're
but
feeling
yeah,
better,
we-
Todd.
I think we had, what
It was
did
a
I
good
say,
one.
26? 26 people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for our guest here, every Christmas, we do what's called a light tour, where we take 1 or 2 buses. Heidi goes out and maps a route around the city, and we take 1 or 2 buses, and it's free for anybody who wants to ride. And we go just see Christmas lights around the city for, it's about an hour to an hour and a half drive. And then we stop here and have some refreshments, and then we take everybody home. So, yeah, it's a pretty cool little thing. So,
It's free, and even if you're not registered, it's open to everybody.
yeah, so anybody can join us. And, you know, it's been a lot of fun. I was disappointed to miss it this year, but I figured 102 fever. I probably shouldn't be confined to a bus with people,
No,
but
He-
she
Yeah, please
she
don't.
says,
Believe me, he
"You're
was-
not coming."
Yeah, believe me, he was going, I'm gonna make this. This is my favorite event. And that day, I'm like, no.
no,
No, you're
no.
not.
no.
We're not gonna get people sick.
It was a rough flu too. It was a bad one. A lot of people have been getting it. It's the one that goes you get the fever, and then the fever breaks, but you're coughing for like a week.
Even more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
My neighbors had it for
Holding
like
on.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Dad's a fireman, he got it, and then his son, I was like going, please stay away.
Yeah.
It's a brutal one. I was surprised. So.
Well, I guess at this point in time, we can adjourn. So vote to adjourn, correct? Is that the process?
It's not required by law. You can do it if you like.
You know, let's adjourn.
Okay. Gotta- Hey,
All
she
in
hit the-
favor? Too late, adjourn. All right.
Have a good
Thanks for
night,
the
everybody.
opportunity
Thank
to
you
lead
very
this.
much.
Yes.
Thank you.